जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय विश्वगुरु श्रील प्रभुपदा विश्वगुरु श्रील प्रभुपदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस विश्वगुरु ऐसे भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्णा रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। विश्वगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, verse number 72. Tam asmin pratyak atmanam. Tamasmin pratyagatmanam. Tamasmin pratyagatmanam. Dhiya yoga pravrittaya. Dhiya yoga pravrittaya. Dhiya yoga pravrittaya. Bhaktya viraktya jnanena. Bhaktya viraktya jnanena. Bhaktya viraktya jnanena. Vivichya atmani chintayet. Vivicyatmani chintayet. Vivicyatmani chintayet. Tamasmin pratyagatmanam. Dhiya yoga pravrittaya. Bhaktya viraktya jnanena. Vivicyatmani chintayet. Tamasmin pratyagatmanam. Dhiya yoga pravrittaya. Bhaktya viraktya jnanena. Vivicyatmani chintayet.
Tasmin pratyagatmanam Dhiya yoga pravrittaya Bhaktya viraktya jnanena Vivicyatmani chintayet.
Tamasmin Tamasmin pratyagatmanam
Dhiya yoga pravrittaya. Bhaktya viraktya jnanena. Vivicyatmani chintayet.
Tamasmin pratyagatmanam
Tamasmin pratyagatmanam.
Dhiya yoga pravrittaya
Dhiya yoga pravrittaya.
Bhaktya viraktya jnanena
Bhaktya viraktya jnanena.
Vivicyatmani chintayet.
Vivicyatmani chintayet. Tam, upon him, asmin, in this, pratyak atmanam, the super soul, dhiya, with the mind, yoga pravrittaya, engaged in devotional service, bhaktya, through devotion, viraktya, through detachment, jnanena, through spiritual knowledge, vivichya, considering carefully, atmani, in the body, chintayet, one should contemplate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, through devotion, detachment and advancement in spiritual knowledge acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that super soul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. Kindly repeat. Therefore, through devotion, detachment and advancement in spiritual knowledge acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that super soul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One can realize the super soul within oneself. He is within one's body, but apart from the body or transcendental to the body. Although sitting in the same body as the individual soul, the super soul has no affection for the body, whereas the individual soul does. One has to detach himself, therefore, from this material body by discharging devotional service. It is clearly mentioned here, bhaktya, that one has to execute devotional service to the Supreme. As it is stated in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. When Vasudeva, the all-pervading Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is served in complete pure devotion, detachment from the material world immediately begins. The purpose of Sankhya is to detach oneself from material contamination. This can be achieved simply by devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one is detached from the attraction of material prosperity, one can actually concentrate his mind upon the Super Soul. As long as the mind is distracted towards the material, there is no possibility of concentrating one's mind and intelligence upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his partial representation, Super Soul. In other words, one cannot concentrate one's mind and energy upon the Supreme unless one is detached from the material world. Following detachment from the material world, one can actually attain transcendental knowledge of the absolute truth. As long as one is entangled in sense enjoyment or material enjoyment, it is not possible to understand the absolute truth. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 54. One who is freed from material contamination is joyful and can enter into devotional service, and by devotional service, he can be liberated. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, it is stated that one becomes joyful by discharging devotional service. In that joyful attitude, one can understand the signs of God or Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is not possible. The analytical study of the elements of material nature and the concentration of the mind upon the super soul are the sum and substance of the Sankhya philosophy system. The perfection of this Sankhya Yoga culminates in devotional service unto the absolute truth. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 26th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Long ago, several millions of years ago, there was a small village in some part of India. And this village was in a very remote location, surrounded by thick forests, small settlement, some few people living there, doing their agriculture and stuff like that. And a nondescript village, nothing much to speak about, simple village. You know how villages are. People live very simply, cows, bullocks, doing some farming, maintaining themselves. Nothing much happening, unlike cities. So one time, what happened was, just before the onset of the monsoon season normally sets in around July and goes on for 4 months till about end of October. So just before the onset of the monsoon season, it happened that a group of saintly people happened to reach that village. In those days, we are talking millions of years ago, those days in the Sanatana Dharma culture, there would be some saints, saintly people, sannyasis. They would go from village to village, town to town, city to city. They would keep traveling. And they would keep traveling and meeting different people and spreading the message of Krishna consciousness, spreading the message of spiritual life, how there is a higher purpose to life, making people understand that life is not all about simply earning money or earning fame and such stuff, but there is a higher purpose to the human form of life. So these saintly people, this group of saintly people, they were traveling and they came to this small village. And those days, traveling used to be mostly by walk. There were no aeroplanes, trains, buses, cabs, cars. These things were not there. And so these saintly people would walk from place to place, and when they would go from one place to another, they would have to go through several forests, mountains. They would have to cross all these things. And so like that, through this forest, these saintly people came, and they came to this village. And normally what happens is, the saintly people during the rainy season, they don't travel. Why? Because the earth becomes slushy and snakes become rampant. So it's not conducive for traveling. So during the 4 months of rainy season, wherever they happen to be, they will stay there for 4 months, then they will continue. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was on his tour of South India, he had come to Andhra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and when he came to Tamil Nadu, he reached Srirangam, he went to Madurai, he had come to Kanchipuram, he came to Madurai, he went to Chidambaram, and finally he reached Srirangam. When he reached Srirangam, rainy season had started. So for 4 months, Mahaprabhu stayed in Srirangam only. He did not travel. So this was even 500 years ago. So you can imagine millions of years ago also, same practice was there. This group of saintly people came to the village and they decided rainy season is starting, so better we stay in this village. Where to stay? In that village, there happened to be one poor lady who was like a maid servant. She would go from house to house and she would do some household chores and she would get paid for it. And she was like that, a simple lady. Her husband was no more and she had only one small child and she was staying all alone. She offered the saintly people, you can stay at my house. Anyway, only I and my son are there, nobody else is there. Comfortably, you can stay. And village, simple house, thatched house and all that. So they were staying there. Now, for these saintly people, what is the work? It is rainy season, they cannot go out, they cannot travel. So every day in the morning, they would do their sadhana, chant the holy name, then sit and they would discuss whole day about the pastimes of Krishna. And this lady would go out, she would go for her work, and these saintly people will sit and keep discussing. And now that her child, her son, was about 5 years old. So what he will do? She is a poor village lady. She was not able to send him to any Gurukul or anything like that for education. So he was at home only. And this boy was also not very frivolous. He was not normally children, they are very frivolous. They keep jumping around, running, restless. They want to play, isn't it? But this child of this maid servant of this lady, he was not at all like that. He was very silent, very quiet. He will sit silently in one place. That kind, very gentle boy. So when these saintly people would sit and discuss whatever the Krishna Katha they were discussing, this boy would also go and sit. And he would sit and hear. And the saintly people also, silent boy, he's nicely sitting and hearing. They were also very happy, and they would involve him also allow him also to sit and hear. And naturally, when something they wanted, some glass of water or something like that, they would tell the boy, he will immediately go and fetch it. So like that, he was very obedient also. Very nice, gentle, silent, quiet, not mischievous, and very obedient. Whatever simple things, bring one mat, bring one glass of water, immediately he would obey. And then once, so like this, the saintly people, the sadhus, are anyway, they are very compassionate. They are all, why do they go travel from place to place? They can sit in one place and do their bhajan, sadhan. But no, they go from place to place because they feel compassionate upon the people who are suffering in the material world. Everybody is suffering in this material world. Even the biggest king is also suffering. Even the poor man is also suffering. Rich man is also suffering. Everybody is suffering. Nobody is free from suffering in this material world. Either they are suffering on account of birth, death, disease and old age, or they are suffering on account of the three kinds of miseries. Adhyatmika klesha, adhibhautika klesha, adhidaivika klesha. Miseries arising out of our own body and mind. Miseries arising out of other living entities. Miseries arising out of natural occurrences. So everybody is afflicted by one or the other of these miseries. And the saintly people, they feel, we are not affected by these miseries. We have achieved a great bliss in hearing about Krishna, about sharing his pastimes. So why not go and help the conditioned souls who are struggling in the material world? Out of great compassion, the saintly people travel from place to place. And so they are naturally already very compassionate. And when they saw this small boy, 5-year-old boy, every day coming and sitting, listening to them, being very obedient to them, naturally they felt more compassionate towards him. And so one time, after honoring prasadam, their leftover mahaprasadam, they gave to the boy out of great compassion. So the child, he also ate that mahaprasadam, and he continued to assist or serve these saintly people in whatever way possible. After the rainy season was over, the saintly people, they left the village and continued on their way. But this boy was constantly remembering whatever they had spoken. 4 months, they continuously, every day. That means 120 days. Every day he had been hearing about Krishna's pastime, so he was remembering that only. And one day, suddenly he got a news. What was that news? Somebody came and told him, my dear boy, your mother had gone to the forest to fetch firewood, and there one snake bit her and she has died. You can imagine, 5-year-old boy, he gets this news. Father is not there, and a small child, no relatives, just one mother is there. Mother is there taking care of him, protecting him. Everything is, he is cared for by the mother. Mother has died. He has become an orphan. What a child will go through. But this boy, he took it as a blessing of Krishna. And he said, my mother was my last attachment to the material world. That's also gone. Now I can dedicate myself to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He immediately left his home, left that village, and like those saintly people, a 5-year-old boy, he also started traveling, passing through forests, mines, mountains, towns, cities, constantly remembering the Lord's pastimes, whatever he had heard from the saintly people. Eventually, he perfected his life and became a pure devotee, and when the time for his death came, he was not at all afraid. He faced death confidently, and next birth, he became Narada Muni. Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki jai. So this is the story of Narada Muni. How Narada Muni became the celebrated sage amongst the rishis. He became Deva Rishi. So, here, what we have to learn from this pastime of Narada Muni, by the personal pastime of Narada Muni. Small boy, 5-year-old boy, he did not study the Vedas, he had no opportunity to learn Sanskrit, he was practically uneducated, and he was not from some very aristocratic family or from a family of great scholars. So from childhood he was hearing so much scholarly knowledge, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras, Vedas, nothing. Only 120 days he heard about the pastimes of the Lord from pure devotees. That's all. So, but still he became Narada Muni, he became Devarshi. How this is possible? So the principle which is functioning here is described by Srila Suta Goswami in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shushrushoho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchihi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipraha Punyatirtha Nishevanat Shinvatam Sugata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto Hyabadrani Vidunoti Surutsatam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Tada Rajastamo Bhavaha Kamalobhadayaschaye Chetayeta Ranaviddam Sthitam Satve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hride Grantis Chidyante Sarva Samshayaha Kshiyante Jase Karmani Drishta Evatmanishware. So in this set of verses, Suta Goswami explains what exactly goes on. So the first step, what happened in Narada Muni's life. Shushrushoho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchihi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipraha Punyatirtha Nishevana. Punyatirtha refers to saintly people. So the saintly people, wherever they go, they convert that place into a place of pilgrimage. So therefore, they are called Punyatirthas. They are Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. They are the people who make a place of pilgrimage. Common people, they go to Haridwar, they go to Chitrakoot, they go to Rishikesh, they will go to Vrindavan, because these are all holy places of pilgrimage. What sets apart these places of pilgrimage from other places? Because in such places you can find saintly people. And the presence of those saintly people makes that place a place of pilgrimage. So these saintly people are called Punyatirthas. Punyatirtha Nishevanat, by rendering service to such saintly people, what happens? Shushushoho Shraddadhanaha Vasudeva Katharuchihi. One will develop an affinity to hear about the pastimes of Vasudeva. Vasudeva Katha. In the pastimes of Krishna, one will develop a certain attraction. You see, especially in India, most of us who are born in Hindu families, from childhood we hear about Krishna's pastimes, how Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, how Krishna danced on the hoods of Kaliya. So many pastimes like this we hear, isn't it? From our parents, grandparents, and relatives, and everywhere we hear it. But we hear that, okay, Krishna is God, so he's doing, that's all. Although we may hear the pastimes of Krishna, that does not become the driving force in our life. It's not that we become attracted and we want to hear again and again those pastimes of Krishna. Okay, we heard once, but what attracts us? Some Bollywood movie will attract us. Some Netflix, some series will attract us. Some novel will attract us. So there are multiple things to attract us in this material world. Anyway, when we are growing as childhood, we are helpless. Some, senior relative in our house will make us sit and hear. We hear those pastimes of Krishna. Not that we are going and sitting, please tell, I want to hear. That kind of thirst or hunger to hear about Krishna's pastimes is not there, isn't it? But Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi Syat. If we render service to a pure devotee, then that attraction for Krishna's pastimes, Vasudeva Katha, will develop, will sprout within our heart. So, Shushrushoha Saddhadanasya. Two things. One is, one must hear one must render service to a pure devotee, and one must hear attentively from that pure devotee. Then what will happen? Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi. Our ruchi, our taste for hearing Vasudeva Katha will come. Then, once the taste of hearing about Vasudeva's Katha, about hearing about Krishna's pastime, once the taste has been awakened in our heart, what will happen? Shinvatam Sukataha. Because the taste has developed, we will want to constantly, every day we want to hear about Krishna. Shinvatam Sukata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Such pastimes of Krishna, when we hear, it is punya, it is the highest pious activity. To hear and to repeat those pastimes of Krishna is the greatest pious activity. There are so many punya karmas you can do in this material world. You can give charity, you can help some poor people, you can open an orphanage, you can help somebody to get some medical, benefit. Like this, you can help someone you can sponsor someone's education, you can feed someone, some poor people. Like this, you can do many, many pious activities. But the highest pious activity is Shinvatam Sukataha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. To hear and to recite the pastimes of Krishna is the highest punya. Now, Shinvatam, as we go on hearing about the glorious pastimes of Krishna, which is the highest pious activity in this, which exists, then what happens? Shinvatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Yabadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam. Hridyantastaha, that Krishna whom we are hearing about, he is present within our heart as the Paramatma, as the super soul, as Pratyagatma. So when Krishna as Paramatma within our heart sees that every day we are hearing with great affection and with great taste, we are hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, what Krishna does as Paramatma, the Paramatma will cleanse our heart of the material contamination. Hridyantastohi abhadrani, the inauspicious things within the heart are getting cleansed off. What are the inauspicious things within the heart? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya, all these 6 enemies, they are the contamination which have occupied our heart. Lust, greed, envy, illusion, all these things, greed, these things they have conquered our heart. But Krishna is Paramatma, when he sees that every day we are hearing about him and we have developed a taste for hearing, and we are doing this by serving the lotus feet of a pure devotee, Krishna as Paramatma cleanses our heart of these things. And not only this, another big contamination in our heart is Aham Mameti. We are identifying ourselves with the body. I am this body. So Krishna cleanses us of that also. And then Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. By every day hearing about Krishna, constantly, every day from a pure devotee and serving him simultaneously, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. Bhagavata Seva means, Bhagavata means, one is Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Krishna. So how do you serve Srimad Bhagavatam? By hearing the Bhagavatam every day. Another meaning of the word Bhagavata is, anybody who is associated with Bhagavan is Bhagavata. That means a pure devotee of Krishna is a Bhagavata, like Srila Prabhupada. So Bhagavata Sevaya, when we render service to a pure devotee, and every day we hear Bhagavatam with great taste, with great attention, with great faith, then Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Krishna is cleansing all the contamination in our heart, and when that contamination gets almost completely destroyed, not fully, say 95%, sorry, say 95% of the contamination is cleansed from our heart. Nashta Prayeshu, Prayeshu means almost fully, not fully, almost. 95% of the contamination is taken out. It's been cleansed from the heart by the Paramatma. Then what happens? Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We will develop unflinching devotion to Krishna. Naishtiki Bhakti. We will develop unflinching devotion to Krishna. This is the first thing. And then, next what happens? After that, Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kamalobhadayascha ye chetayetair anaviddham sthitam sattve prasidati. What will happen? The influence of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, which is causing us so much misery within the material world, forcing us to engage in material activities, forcing us to engage in sinful activities, throwing us more and more into ignorance within the material world, causing us to get repeatedly take birth and death within this material world. What happens? Cheta yetair anaviddham. The cheta, our mind, our intelligence and our heart becomes cleansed, becomes free from the influence of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. And then when Rajoguna and Tamoguna, when they are cheta yetair anaviddham, sthitam sattve, then we get situated in Sattoguna. And when we get situated in Sattoguna, what happens? Sthitam sattve prasidati. We will become very blissful. We will no longer be affected by material miseries. Not that material miseries will disappear. Material miseries will still be there. Old age will still come. Diseases will still come. Natural calamities will still happen. But you are not affected by that because you are experiencing a higher bliss, a higher happiness. So these material miseries, they become insignificant. You don't bother about them. Something has come, it will go. Disease has come, it will go. Some calamity has come, it will go. These things are part of the material world. So, when one becomes situated in Sattoguna and one becomes blissful, then what happens? Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. So when one heart becomes peaceful, calm and blissful, one is no longer agitated by the material miseries, then what happens? Evam prasanna manasa. Like this, when one becomes equipoised and blissful, evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha, because of rendering devotional service to Krishna, because bhakti has already started within the heart. Right? In the previous verses already it has been described. By serving the pure devotees, we develop an attraction to hear about Krishna's pastimes. When we hear about Krishna's pastimes, the heart becomes cleansed of all the different contaminations. When those contaminations are almost fully cleansed, one becomes completely joyful, unaffected by material miseries. So, and when one becomes blissful like this, then one becomes situated in Sattoguna. And evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha. Because of rendering devotional service to Krishna, by rendering bhakti to Krishna, therefore you have become prasanna manasa, you become blissful. Then what happens? Bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. So one will develop knowledge about Bhagavat tattva vijnanam. So one will Bhagavat tattva. What is the absolute truth? What is the supreme absolute truth? That we will be able, that truth about that supreme personality of Godhead, we will be able to realize. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. And another thing that will happen is mukta sangasya jayate. Mukta sangha, we will become detached from the material world. Vidyate hriday granthis. All the knots in the heart will become untied. Knots in the heart. What are the knots in the heart? Our affection for our family, our affection for our country, our affection for our community, our affection for our relatives, our affection for our body. All these things will be removed from our heart. Vidyate hriday granthis. Vidyate means they are broken. All such knots within the heart are broken. Chidyante sarva samshayaha. All our doubts about the absolute truth, what is our position, who we are, what is the purpose of the human form of life, all the misconceptions that we cultivate within the material world, goal of life is to become the richest man in the world. Goal of life is to become the most powerful man in the world. Goal of life is so many things like this. All these are misconceptions of the body. So, vidyate hriday granthis chidyante sarva samshayaha. All such misconceptions are removed from the heart. Vidyate hriday granthis chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante jasya karmani. Kshiyante. All the reactions to our past activities which are causing our repeated birth and death within the material world are also destroyed. Drishta yevatman ishware. And we will be able to see how we are the true masters. Masters in the sense, we are different from material energy. Right now in the conditioned stage, material nature is controlling us. But actually we belong to a superior nature. We are supposed to be beyond the influence of material energy. So, Drishta Yevatmanishware, we will be able to see how we are actually not under the control of material energy, but we are under control of internal energy of Krishna. So, you see, step by step, this is what happens. When you get, by some great fortune, an opportunity to serve a pure devotee of Krishna, then you start hearing from him with faith and with Shraddha. With faith and with obedience, we hear. With attention, we hear from that pure devotee after rendering service to him. Then what will happen? Automatically in our heart, our attraction to hear about Krishna will start sprouting. Then what will happen? Then all the kalmashas, all the contaminations within the heart, they will slowly start going out of our life. And then we will become more and more unaffected by material miseries. Then what will happen? We will be able to render service to the Bhagavata. We will be able to hear Bhagavatam every day. Our ruchi, our taste for hearing about Bhagavatam will about Krishna's pastimes will increase. And then all the contamination within the heart, when it is almost cleansed fully, we will become free from the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance. We will get situated in the mode of goodness. Our heart will become filled with bliss. All our misgivings, misconceptions about the material world and the material body will disappear. And all the knots within the heart, all our attraction for material world, material nature, material life, material body, and all bodily possessions, everything will vanish from the heart. So you see, this is the whole process. So add bhakti, and then what happens? Knowledge about the Supreme Lord will get firmly established within the heart. So first bhakti, then jnana, then vairagya. All these things will take place within the heart. That's exactly what happened in the life of Narada Muni in his previous life. First, some great fortune, saintly people who are passing by, they decided to stay in his house, in that village, and that too in his house. And there, they were constantly narrating the pastimes of Krishna. He got to hear from them. And he rendered some very simple menial service to them. Bringing water, bringing some mat, this, that, serving some food. That's all. And by that, what happened? His attraction to hear about Krishna became very strong. And when that attraction to hear about Krishna became strong, what happened? He developed detachment. He became so detached, when his mother died, he was not at all affected. He said, this is Krishna's blessing. Left the home and started walking. 5-year-old sannyasi. You see? Bhakti, Vairagya, and Bhagavat Tattva Vijnana. He understood who is the absolute truth, Krishna. And then next life he became Narada. Over. So, as it is stated in this verse today, Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam, that super soul, that Paramatma, Diya Yoga Pravrittaya, through concentrated devotional service, Bhaktya Viraktya Jnanena, devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge. Vivichya, considering carefully, one must contemplate. Chintayet, one must contemplate the super soul present within the body. So, for us to be, although Paramatma is there within our heart, he is right there, sitting next to us in the heart. According to the Vedic knowledge, the soul within the body is situated within the prana vayu, 5 kinds of air which are circulating within the heart. That is why the heart is the center of all emotions. Whenever we get angry or we get sad, first thing that gets affected is the heart. When we get angry, heart rate will start going up. When we become very sad or we become very fearful, heart rate will go up. You see, first thing to get affected is the heart. Because the soul is there within the heart. Now, Dvasuparna Sayuja Sakaya Samanam Vriksham Parishashva Jate. The Upanishads are stating that there is the tree of the body. In the tree of the body, there are 2 birds sitting, Dvasuparna. And they are Sakaya, they are friends. Actually, they are friends. Tayoranyah Pippalam Swadvatti. One of the birds on the tree, which is referring to the conditioned soul within the body. That bird is Pippalam Swadvatti. He is constantly eating the fruits of the tree. Meaning, he is tasting either happiness or distress, which is coming out of his past activities. Whatever karma he has done, whatever pious activities he has done, will generate happiness for him, a happy condition within the material world. And whatever papa karma, whatever sinful activities he has done in the previous lives, for that he will have to suffer. So sometimes the fruit is sweet, sometimes the fruit is bitter. Pippalam Swadvatti. Tayoranyaha Anasnan Abhichakashiti. The other bird, the Paramatma, although he is also sitting within the same body, he is not eating the fruits of that tree. Then what is he doing? Why is he sitting in the body then? Abhichakashiti. He is simply observing what is this soul doing. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno. So in that tree, when the soul is seated and it is constantly eating the fruits of that tree, Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno anishaya shochati muhyamanaha. Because he has anishaya, he has forgotten who is the super soul. He is completely blind to the Paramatma sitting next to him in the same body. Anishaya muhyamanaha. He is bewildered within this material world. He is bewildered by what he is seeing in the material world. He is bewildered by economic development, by wealth, by fame, by power, by beauty. All kinds of sense gratification, they are bewildering him. They have taken away snatched away his intelligence. So, Anishaya Muhyamana Shochati. Because of that, that soul, that living entity, that one bird on the tree has been pushed into Shochati, into lamentation. Constantly, the living entity is lamenting. Lamenting in 2 ways. One is lamenting for something which he doesn't have. Oh, this thing I don't have, but this other person is having. I also want that. That is one kind of lamentation. Another lamentation is something I had, but I lost it. Because nothing in this material world is permanent. Somebody may become the richest man in the world. After that, the stock market will crash, and then he will lose all his money. Somebody will be a very intelligent man, very big scholar. He may be a scientist, got Nobel Prize. When he becomes old, Alzheimer's disease, he will forget everything. He will forget that he has got his Nobel Peace Prize. He is a great scientist. Everything he will forget. So you see. So nothing in this world is permanent. So we lament for something which we had, but we lost, or we are lamenting for something we don't have. Shochati, constantly the living entity is immersed in lamentation. Jushtam yada pashyati anyamisham. But when that soul who is immersed in such miserable life, when he, Jushtam yada pashyati, when he sees anyamisham, that yes, I am not the only person, there is another personality, the super soul, Paramatma, who is not attracted by material sense gratificatory activities. He is not engaged in material activities. He is transcendental. He is a transcendental personality. When a living entity recognizes this, and asya mahimanamiti vita shokaha, when he understands whatever I am seeing manifested in the material world is all mahimanam. These are all the result of the glorious activities of the transcendental personality. Then what happens is, asya mahimanamiti vita shokaha. He becomes free from all miseries. So, the solution to become free from miseries in this material world is not by making United Nations, by improving economically, improving militarily, improving scientifically. All these branches of knowledge we may advance in, but none of them can remove the miseries of our life. None of them can remove. They can improve the comforts of your life. You may be, if you are economically well developed, you can travel in a car. Otherwise, you will have to travel on a cycle. So, little bit more comfortable. But then when you have a car, you have other difficulties. Cycle means you don't need a license, you don't need this one, you don't need, even if you cross a red light in traffic, nobody will stop you. Car, if you go immediately, there will be a fine. Nowadays, there are cameras fitted everywhere. Cycles will also be crossing, but no cycle will get any challan to his home that you have to pay this, penalty because you crossed the red light. Moment you cross in a car, immediately you will get on your mobile WhatsApp, this one will come. Penalty, you have violated the traffic rules. So, you got a little comfort, but there is some other misery also involved. Vehicle you have to send for purchase, one tire gets blown, you have to repair that tire or replace that tire, you have to spend thousands of rupees, 5,000, 6,000 rupees. Cycle tire burst means what? Put 100 rupees, one patch and pump the air and continue. So less misery, no? So the more comfort you have, the more misery also you are inviting. That's the nature of the material world. So by enhancing the comforts of life through economic development, military development, the advancement of science, technology, all these kind of things, miseries are not getting removed. Apparently, you may be in a more comfortable condition, but you are also inviting more trouble also. Because of technology, you can put an AC in your house during summer. Nice. Comfortably, you can sleep in the room. But at the end of the month, the electricity bill will also come. So you have to pay for that. So you see, this material world, you can increase the comforts, but the pains will also increase. So none of these advancements are going to remove the miseries in your life. The more you advance, the more miseries will increase only. If you really want to become free from miseries, then only way is you have to perceive the Paramatma. You have to learn to perceive the Paramatma who is seated within your heart. And how can you perceive the Paramatma? That is possible. Bhaktya, Viraktya, Jnanena. By these three things. By Bhakti, devotional service, Virakti, detachment, and Jnanena, transcendental knowledge. These three things when we cultivate, it is called a spiritual life. And to develop detachment and knowledge, you don't need to do anything separately. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Idahaitukam. You simply render devotional service to Krishna, knowledge and detachment automatically will come. You will automatically lose the taste for material sense gratification. You will lose the taste for material relations. You will lose the taste for pursuit of material happiness. These things will no longer appeal to you. Simply if you engage in Vasudeva Katharuchihi, if you engage in hearing about the pastimes of Krishna from a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. So, Tamasmin Pratyagatma Atmanam Dhiya Yoga Pravrittaya Bhaktya Viraktya Jnanena Vivicyatmani Chintaye. Therefore, through devotion, detachment and advancement in spiritual knowledge, three things. Bhaktya, Viraktya, Jnanena. Through devotion, detachment and advancement in spiritual knowledge. How are these three things acquired? Acquired through concentrated devotional service. Devotional service is the cause of devotion and detachment and knowledge. There is no other cause for devotional service. Devotional service causes itself. Just like Narada Muni, unknowingly, he sat and heard those pure devotees. Unknowingly, he rendered them service. That is devotional service. And because of that, what happened? He became a firm devotee of Krishna. So much so that he developed knowledge, he developed detachment. Even as a 5-year-old kid, he became a self-realized person. So devotional service only causes devotion. And that devotion will in turn lead to knowledge and detachment. And by that, one should contemplate the super soul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. And this conclusion, this verse is the conclusion of the description of Sankhya Yoga by Kapila Muni to Devahuti. So, Kapila Muni is concluding the result of practicing Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga primarily tries to analyze how this material world is created, how it is constituted. We have been seeing in this whole chapter how the Virata Purusha is formed, how the different sense objects are formed, how the different senses are formed, how the devatas are created. So the whole material creation is described. And Sankhya Yoga tries to ascertain from all this, by studying all this, that we are none of these things. We are different from matter. So through the process of Sankhya Yoga, by analyzing material energy, the process of material creation, the different material elements, the body, the senses, etc., the final goal which is to be achieved by that is being described by Kapila Muni here. He is saying, tamasmin pratyagatmanam dhiya yoga pravrittaya. The goal of that Sankhya Yoga is to be able to perceive the Paramatma within the heart and develop devotional service, concentrated devotional service, yoga pravrittaya, through concentrated devotional service to achieve devotion, detachment and attachment and advancement in spiritual knowledge. So these three things, devotion, detachment and transcendental knowledge, these three things are the result of concentrated devotional service, which comes about as a result of practicing Sankhya Yoga. So ultimately, Sankhya Yoga is to bring you to the point of bhakti. So you may engage, you may cultivate Sankhya Yoga to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, or you can directly engage in Bhakti Yoga. So if you are fortunate enough to come in touch with a pure devotee and you directly engage in Bhakti Yoga, there is no need for us to undergo Ashtanga Yoga, no need to follow Karma Yoga, no need to follow Jnana Yoga, no need to follow Sankhya Yoga, nothing is required. Because the end result of following all these yoga systems is to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga. So if you have already come to Bhakti Yoga, there is no need to perform anything else. So this is the conclusion which is being made by Kapila Muni. And so therefore, at the end of this, the last verse of this chapter, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, Kapila Muni is concluding that one has to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga. That is the goal of performing Sankhya Yoga. That is the goal of walking on the path of Sankhya Yoga. So I'll stop here. If anybody has any question or comment, we can discuss.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, in this connection with Narada Muni's pastimes, you have mentioned that he was the son of a maidservant in his previous lifetime. And he got association with the sadhus during the Chaturmasya, and then in the next life he took birth as Narada Muni. I've heard from some sources in a different, in one more version, saying that Narada Muni was earlier a Gandharva by name Upabarhana, and then he was cursed by the Prajapatis. Yes. And then he had to take birth in a family of maidservant. Yes. Is this right, or is it like speculative knowledge?
This is also given in the Bhagavatam only. No. Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni himself describes that. Okay. He was Upabarhana, and what happened as Upabarhana, he was extremely beautiful, and he had a very beautiful singing voice, and so he became very puffed up by arrogant because of that, and he would constantly be surrounded by all the Gandharva women. They would all be very attracted to him, and so it so happened that once all the Devatas decided to organize a Sankirtan festival to glorify Vishnu. So Upabarhana also came there because he was quite a good singer. So after several people had sung, he came and sang. And when he sang, instead of glorifying Vishnu, he started glorifying all the Devatas. So all the Devatas became angry. They said, what is this offense he is creating? Instead of glorifying Vishnu, he is glorifying us. So you useless fellow, you have taken birth as a Gandharva, you don't know that you have to glorify Vishnu. Instead of that, you are glorifying us. Then better you become a person in ignorance. Because that's what you are not qualified to be a Gandharva. So they cursed him like that, and that's how he took birth as a maidservant son.
And
That was the previous life to the previous life of Narada Muni.
And just one more clarification, Prabhu. So the sages who had come in to meet the maid servants' place during the Chaturmasya, they were the 4 Kumaras, Sanat Kumaras, were the sages. Is that right, Prabhu? Understanding?
No, that's not what the Bhagavatam describes. They were some pure devotees, that's all it says. Not that they are the Sanat Kumara. That's not what the Bhagavatam says.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Anything else? Yes, please.
So, since we have already come in touch with the pure devotee,
Srila Prabhupada, yes.
Srila Prabhupada, so why do we have to discuss Sankhya Yoga then, as it is given in Bhagavatam? Like, why did Prabhupada write purports and discuss?
Primarily because, especially in the initial stages of Bhakti Yoga, we may develop a doubt that is Bhakti Yoga the ultimate? Am I missing out on something if I am not performing Sankhya Yoga, if I am not engaging in Jnana Yoga, if I am not engaging in Karma Yoga? So, to give us that confidence that if you engage in Bhakti Yoga, everything else is included, this description is given. And not only that, when we speak of all these different yoga systems and how they are all ultimately leading to Bhakti Yoga, it is a glorification of the process of Bhakti Yoga. Just like if you want to glorify Krishna, you have to explain his position with respect to the Devatas, how Krishna is supreme, he is above all the Devatas. When you explain that, you understand, oh, this is the glorious position of Krishna. Similarly, to understand the glorious position of Bhakti Yoga, you have to explain how all the yoga systems ultimately come to this point only. So therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. So one has to be very completely, one has to be sure. One has to be very sure and certain about the topmost position of Bhakti Yoga and the topmost position of Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So a pure devotee is never bereft of knowledge. When we engage in devotional service, when we glorify Krishna, when we engage in glorifying Bhakti Yoga, automatically we learn about Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, everything we learn. Bhagavad Gita, if you study, it is primarily what is Bhagavad Gita. In essence, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking about himself. But when you study Bhagavad Gita, you also learn Ashtanga Yoga, 6th chapter. You also learn Karma Yoga, 3rd chapter, 5th chapter. Right? And you learn devotional service also, between the 7th and 12th chapters. So, the point is, when you glorify Krishna, when you render devotional service to Krishna, as it is stated here, Bhaktya Viraktya Jnanena, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, Janetyasu Vairagyam Jnanam, all knowledge will also get included. Yasmin Vijnate Sarvam Medam Evam Vijnatam Bhavati. If we learn about Krishna, when we understand about Krishna, when we learn about Krishna, knowing Krishna, if you have to render devotional service to Krishna, you have to know him. You have to know his position. You have to know our position in relation to him. And when we say knowing Krishna means knowing Krishna as a person, Krishna's devotees, knowing Krishna's energies, knowing the different paths which lead to Krishna, everything we will come to know. That is the nature of bhakti. That's the nature of devotional service. You render devotional service, knowledge, jnana is automatically included in that. Understood? Yes, please.
A pure devotee in our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, in the Acharya Sampradaya, so we see that all of them have come from the spiritual abode of Krishna, which is Goloka Vrindavan. So in this case, we see Narada Muni having 2 past lives, wherein he has exhibited different kind of leelas here.
Yes.
So has he been like the gopis who have got purified of their existence and become part of the Krishna's intimate pastimes? Like that, Narada Muni has got purified and then come into this pure devotional service? Or is it like he has also come in from the spiritual abode, Goloka Vrindavana, and then he is exhibiting these kind of pastimes to attract the conditioned souls, Prabhu?
Well, when it is said that in our parampara, the acharyas are all coming from the spiritual world, Prabhupada says they are all confidential associates of Radharani or the manifested representation of Nityananda Prabhu. That's the position of a Diksha Guru within our parampara. So from the point of Madhavendra Puri onwards, where that mood of conjugal love got revealed within the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, it is from that point of onwards that we have those personalities coming from Goloka Vrindavan. Prior to that, they may have been pure devotees, but not necessarily from Goloka Vrindavan. All the acharyas prior to that. One of which is Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a sadhana siddha. By sadhana, performance of sadhana in his life as the son of a maidservant, he perfected his life. And next life he became Narada Muni, means he has become a sadhana siddha. He has become a siddha. And once you have become a siddha, once you have become a perfect, liberated, pure devotee, Prabhupada says there is no difference between a Nitya Siddha and a Sadhana Siddha. Why? Because once you have reached that platform, you will not fall down. You are situated in pure devotional service to Krishna, and you are in love of Krishna. Krishna Prema has taken root, has been reawakened in your heart. There is no question of any fall down after that. So, that way, Narada Muni is not a person who is descended from the spiritual world, but he is a sadhana siddha. He perfected his life within this material world, and the moment he has become sadhana siddha, he is as good as a nitya siddha who is coming from the spiritual world. Similarly, Brahma also, Prabhupada mentions in the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that Brahma is a pure devotee. When did he become a pure devotee? After hearing the Chatushloki Bhagavatam from Krishna. Prior to that, he was not a pure devotee. And Brahma does not have permanent residence in the spiritual world. After this life, he'll go to the spiritual world, spend a little time there, then again come back to the material world to perform the role of Brahma. So he keeps flitting between the spiritual world and material world. So he's a pure devotee, but he is not descended from the spiritual world like the personalities in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara from the time of Madhavendra Puri onwards. That's how we understand. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhu. One more. So we have 32 acharyas in our parampara, which
Yes.
Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur or Bhakti Vinod Thakur has listed out. And we see that the kalpas that have been in place since the time of creation, when Brahma has appeared, is kind of, now Brahma is 51 years old. So in this kalpa, which has been in the past, we see that Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhvacharya coming in here. So Narada Muni or Vyasadeva have been in this kalpa. So have there been any pure devotees in the previous kalpas which our acharyas have not revealed to us?
See, every yuga, there will be different paramparas which will be ongoing. All right. It is like when Krishna speaks the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Evam parampara praptam rajarsho viduhu. So Krishna says that, Aham vivaswan manave what is that beginning of the verse? Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivaswan manave praha manurikshva kave abravit. So Krishna says at the beginning of the creation, I imparted this knowledge to the sun god. And sun god spoke that to his son, Ikshvaku. And Ikshvaku spoke that knowledge, same knowledge to his son, Manu. Right? Now, Vaivasvata Manu. So now, if you look at this, Krishna has mentioned only 3 names from the beginning of creation. That means in that parampara, there are only 3 people present. So, after that, what happens then? How the parampara is going on? So, the parampara is still going on because the knowledge is present. The parampara refers not to an unbroken chain of physically living people. That's not parampara. Parampara is a chain of unbroken handing over of the knowledge, disciplic conclusion as it is. Prabhupada explains in the purport to chapter 4, verse 2, that as long as the disciplic conclusion is present, the parampara continues. Although there may be only 3 names in the parampara for millions of years, but still parampara is continuing. How? Because one acharya has come, just like Prabhupada. Prabhupada is the acharya, is the Diksha Guru, right? He appeared at a certain point of time, 1977, he disappeared from our material vision. But is the parampara continuing after that? Parampara is still continuing. Why? Because the knowledge he has given is still available. As long as we don't change that knowledge that Prabhupada has given, and we continue spreading that same knowledge, then what will happen? Then the parampara will continue. So Prabhupada will continue to remain Diksha Guru. The day when that knowledge becomes no longer available for the common mass of people, then parampara gets broken, then Krishna has to send another Acharya. So this Acharya parampara that is there is actually a parampara of prominent Acharyas who appear at certain points of time whenever the disciplic conclusion gets lost. To re-establish that disciplic conclusion, to re-establish that parampara, the Acharyas appear. So not necessary that it has to be one after another. One living person in front of him, he initiated one person, that person becomes the next Acharya. And before he dies, he has to search, oh my God, I'm going to die, find someone, make him the Acharya. Then I go, I disappear. It doesn't work like that. It's not like, materially one company is there and that company, Google or Apple or whatever, I'm going to die. The CEO is thinking, now before I die, I have to hand over to someone. I have to hand it over to another living person, make him a CEO, hand over everything. Now I can peacefully die. It's not like that. This is not a material, this one. It's not a material principle. It is a spiritual principle. Disciplic conclusion, for millions of years after Vaivasvata Manu, there was no other prominent Acharya in that list. Similarly, from between Veda Vyasa and Madhva Muni, there is a huge gap, several hundreds of years. Physically, there was no other Acharya at that time, but the conclusion was present. But when the conclusion got lost, then Madhvacharya had to appear. So, the disciplic conclusion, as long as it is present, the parampara continues. Not necessary that there has to be a Diksha Guru physically present. A powerful Acharya, like when Prabhupada comes. So, for hundreds of years, for thousands of years also, because of the power of his preaching, that disciplic conclusion will continue and the parampara will continue on the strength of that Acharya alone. So that is how Prabhupada, although he has disappeared from our material vision, he continues to remain the Acharya and the Diksha Guru for our institution. But of course, it doesn't mean that Krishna cannot send another Acharya or Diksha Guru during this time. He can send, it is up to him, because the world is a very big place. There are so many unlimited living entities to be liberated. So, simultaneously, different Acharyas can also perform the same function. There is no harm in that. But the point is that parampara may continue for millions of years also. The same parampara may continue. Or in a different kalpa or a different manvantara or a different mahayuga, Krishna may decide that no, I have to start a new parampara. So, these are all not in our hands, it is in the hands of Krishna. Krishna decides according to time, place and circumstance. So, what parampara we are talking about is not even for this kalpa. It is talking about the parampara within our current age, within the current Kali Yuga. Alright. So, the different branches of this parampara will continue in different yugas, different kalpas. It can be different branches, or Krishna may start a completely new parampara. So, because during this lifetime of Brahma, within this universe, Brahma, his lifespan, there is only one Brahma, right? For his 100 years, this universe is going to exist. So, he is the Acharya for the parampara which is coming from Brahma. So, that parampara will continue either through this parampara through which we are connected to Brahma, or through other branches. There are many disciples of Brahma. Kumaras are also disciples of Brahma. They have their disciples. So, through them also some parampara will continue. So, parampara is not something which is limited to one single chain. There can be multiple branches, multiple chains, all connecting ultimately to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So, these are all the different aspects of parampara. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.